Chapter 1. Author's Note. The book opens with an author's note in which the narrator describes his meeting with an elderly man named Francis Adirabasami in Pondicherry, India. The narrator, who shares the same name as the author, Yann Martel, learns about a remarkable story of survival that he is urged to write down. The man's story centers around a young Indian boy named Yann Martel Patel, nicknamed Pi, who survived a shipwreck and spent 227 days at sea on a lifeboat with a Bengal tiger. Chapter 2. Author's Note 2. In this chapter, the author emphasizes the importance of storytelling and the power of fiction to bring truth and meaning to life. He also discusses his research process and his journey to meet Pi Patel, who now lives in Canada. Chapter 3. Yann Martel Patel. The narrative shifts to the childhood of Pi Patel. He grows up in Pondicherry, India, where his father owns a zoo. Pi's curiosity and fascination with animals lead him to explore various religions, and he adopts the practices of Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam. This choice to follow multiple faiths sets the stage for Pi's spiritual journey throughout the book. Chapter 4. Pondicherry. In this chapter, the focus remains on Pi's life in Pondicherry. The city's cultural diversity and the zoo's influence on Pi's upbringing are highlighted. Pi's family decides to move to Canada due to political unrest in India, and they make preparations to sell the animals and emigrate. Chapter 5. The Zoo. The chapter delves deeper into Pi's bond with the zoo animals, particularly a Bengal tiger named Richard Parker. Pi's father teaches him about the harsh realities of the animal kingdom, including the concept of survival of the fittest. Chapter 6. The Shipwreck. The main event of the novel takes place in this chapter. The family boards a Japanese cargo ship named Simpson along with their zoo animals, destined for Canada. However, the ship encounters a storm in the Pacific Ocean, leading to its sinking. Pi manages to escape on a lifeboat but finds himself stranded at sea with several animals, including Richard Parker. Chapter 7. The lifeboat. Pi struggles to survive on the lifeboat, facing challenges like finding food and fresh water, and dealing with the presence of the tiger. He devises a system to protect himself from Richard Parker, marking his territory and creating a division between the two on the boat. Chapter 8. The hyena. In this chapter, Pi recounts the brutal and chaotic encounters with a hyena that was also on the lifeboat. The hyena attacks and kills other animals, leaving Pi in constant fear for his life. Chapter 9. The whale. Pi witnesses a terrifying spectacle of a whale approaching the lifeboat. He is awestruck by the immense size and power of the creature. However, the whale's presence brings the hope of food as it dies and attracts fish to feed on its carcass. Chapter 10. The island. Pi discovers a mysterious island that seems to provide a haven of relief for him and Richard Parker. The island offers an abundance of food and freshwater ponds. However, Pi soon realizes the island has a dark secret, and it is not the paradise it initially seemed to be. Chapter 11. The carnivorous algae. Pi unravels the disturbing truth about the island, discovering that it is carnivorous and devours any living beings that remain on it at night. He narrowly escapes the island's clutches and returns to the lifeboat, leaving behind the false sanctuary. Chapter 12. The ocean. Pi and Richard Parker continue their arduous journey at sea, facing the hardships of hunger, dehydration, and the constant threat of predators. The vastness of the ocean becomes a metaphor for the vastness of life and its mysteries. Chapter 13. The blind Frenchman. Pi's lifeboat encounters a shipwrecked sailor, a blind Frenchman who survived on a separate lifeboat. The Frenchman is threatening and dangerous, and Pi decides to keep his distance to protect himself and Richard Parker. Chapter 14. The third man. Pi narrates a surreal and unsettling encounter with a mysterious, invisible presence on the lifeboat. The presence serves as a reminder of the intangible and unexplainable aspects of life and spirituality. Chapter 15. The verdict. Pi and Richard Parker finally reach the shores of Mexico. However, Richard Parker immediately disappears into the jungle without acknowledging Pi. Rescued by locals, Pi recovers and shares his unbelievable tale of survival with Japanese investigators, who are skeptical about his story. Chapter 16. Tenochtitlan. Pi moves to Tenochtitlan, Mexico, to start a new life. He struggles to cope with the loss of Richard Parker and undergoes a lengthy recovery process. The ordeal at sea has a profound impact on Pi, leaving him with lasting physical and emotional scars. Chapter 17. Benito Juarez Infirmary, Tenochtitlan, Mexico. The Japanese investigators return to question Pi further, seeking a more plausible version of the shipwreck story. Pi offers them an alternative, gruesome account that involves the death of his mother, a sailor, and the cook aboard the lifeboat. The investigators find this story more believable, despite its lack of evidence. Chapter 18. Mr. Okamoto, the lead Japanese investigator. Mr. Okamoto and his colleague are left puzzled and conflicted by Pai's dual storytelling. They leave Mexico without obtaining a definitive version of events. Pai and Mr. Okamoto part on amicable terms. Chapter 19. The last parting. The author, Yann Martel, meets with the adult Pai Patel in Canada for the final time. Pai shares his belief that both stories he told are true in their own way, emphasizing that the human capacity for imagination and storytelling is what matters most. Epilogue. The book concludes with a philosophical discussion about the nature of storytelling and the importance of embracing multiple perspectives in life. The author reflects on the significance of Pai's survival story and the impact it had on his own life, inspiring him to believe in the